county resident all your life?
Yep, I
need
did
an
one
exchange.
You wanna sit over here?
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm okay right now. Let me see
Just
when
let me know.
it dies off.
Okay, and
Thank you.
so what I should really do, like this, right?
Oh, what is it?
Is that a new one? Oh, shoot.
And hi, what's your name? Anthony. And then we have Tom and Reese and Morgan. And John.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you need to get over.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like, yeah, it will not last.
Teal.
Jim.
Teal.
That was so hard. Oh my goodness. So, Jim,
You're okay?
and tell me your name.
Daniel.
Daniel. Thank you, I'm cheating, I'm
Well,
making
just-
notes. Hi.
Catherine,
Catherine, hi, with a K or a C?
with a K.
I'm trying to get a little volume up.
Thank you.
My volume's way up,
Okay, what
so,
is that, Jessica?
Can you tilt the screen down so I can see the TV?
Yeah, is that better?
so,
That's better.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's good.
thank you.
You're both done.
And way over in the corner, tell me your name again.
Anne Marie.
Anne Marie. With an E at the end of the Anne or not?
No. Capital A and then.
This is a good example of like Anne Marie. Who would not know how to spell Anne Marie? So I always teach people when you're filling out a purchase contract, right? And you're sitting down with your clients, you say, oh, Jim Smith. How do you spell Jim? J-I-M? No, that's with a Y. Oh, thank you. And Smith is S-M-I-T-H? No, there's an E at the end of it. You just never know, right?
Yeah.
So, good morning. So, perfect example. It's always good to ask. All right, everybody, thank you for being here. And we are here on Spark number 2. Awesome. And we are here to talk about lead generating, right? So you already saw this slide once before. And by the way, there was a handout material here, so be sure to take that. There is a separate section for each class, right? So each class has its own handout, and you just want to build it in your notebook. I get those little tabs, you know, you can buy those little tabs, or if you have tabs in your notebook already, great, but you can just buy those little stick-em tabs. They work great. They turn your notebook into a tab notebook instantly, right, for $2.99 or something. Okay, so we've already gone over the fact that there's things we do to grow our business, and there's things we do to run our business, right? And our goal in this class and in this series is to get you into production as quickly as possible by making phone calls and doing the activities to grow your business. Because there ain't no business to work on unless you grow your business, right? Right. Which is the second point, that when you are getting business and now you're gonna work in your business, most people just go, woo, I'm so excited, I've got a transaction, and they get all involved in their transaction and they totally forget to grow their business. And we're here to get you into that habit that you can't do that. The moment you stop working on growing your business, you don't have business 2 months from now to work in. So that's the idea here, is to develop these good habits, right? So we're here to help you work on those every day. Okay, so we are here to talk about lead generating, and you know, they say, what is the secret to real estate? I'm going to tell you the secret to real estate. There's no secret. You just have to follow what successful people are already doing. They're already doing it. It's not a secret. As a matter of fact, Gary Keller wrote a book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent that tells you exactly how to do real estate. It's published. So we're here to share the non-secret with you as to what it is by telling you what his whole plan is. What is that course that a realtor has to follow in order to become successful, right? And that is by growing your business and running your business at the same time. So, we're going to be talking about the lead generating model today. We're going to go over lead generating model, lead generation, what it means. We're going to talk about your database. We're going to talk about the sales pipeline. And we're going to then recap and go over our ahas and then go into doing our daily habits. So I would appreciate some help with timing. So who's a good person to look at their watch or keep track for me and let me know when it's like 9:45 so that I know. Will you do that? Thank you so much, Jim. I appreciate it. I need all the help I can get. Okay. All right. So what's our big picture here? Our big picture is that understanding the lead generating model provides a larger vision of interconnected tasks and habits that we have to go through, right? So first of all, what is lead generating? So just back here, I went over some of it, but lead generation is lead generation database and the sales pipeline. That would be your lead generation. And then building daily habits is working on your database and a script practice and then actually making your calls, etc., right? So those are the daily habits. So we've got this great chart. We used to call it a funnel. It doesn't quite look like a funnel anymore, but sort of. And I believe you've got that on page 4 in your handout. So the idea here is that it divides itself into 3 segments. And this is the lead generating segment up here that is wild and woolly. It's not even contained, right? It's just wild and it's not in the container yet. And then we put things in our container and that's our database. And then we funnel people through and cultivate them and they end up in a transaction. The point being that this is what you have to go through no matter what. This process can't be avoided. This is the process of real estate that we're going to take you through. So it's really helpful to have this big picture and an overview of the whole thing, right? So, so let me ask you something. What do you think you know about lead generating? What's your understanding of lead generating?
It needs to be constant and relentless.
Well, okay, the constant and relentless. Whoa, okay. It's like top of mind. What is it? Let me ask that.
It's connecting with people.
Okay.
One way or the other. It could be face to face, could be, email, and a lot of times it's easier than we make it out to be, because it can be just people that we meet throughout the day, or people that we've already met.
It's safe to be saying anybody that's even curious about real estate as a someday, that is a potential lead, even from right there. Is that a safe statement there?
No, I think anybody is, as long as they're over 18.
Okay.
I mean,
Anybody
do I want
ready?
to start
That has the ability,
working
huh?
on a lead when they're 15 years old? Maybe not, but people do. People watch their parents do real estate. They grow up, and what do? They either become realtors or they want to do real estate, right? They get it from having watched their parents do it. And does a realtor take on the kids? You bet. You bet. So it's never too soon to develop and nurture the relationship, right? So yes, continuous and relentless, is that what you said? And it's contacts, right? Yeah. So the second portion then means, so now we've got some information and we divide our information into kind of 2 categories. Somebody's either a lead, which means you don't know them, you've never met them, but you somehow got their name, and you have the right or the opportunity to communicate with them, and you don't know if you're going to get communication back. So it's kind of a one-way communication until there's reciprocity, and the person now responds to you and connects with you, and then you've got a contact. And so we treat these people differently in our database, and so we'll get to that. And that's why we differentiate between them. sometimes a contact goes back to being a lead. Like, we talked to them, we thought we talked to them, we thought we built a rapport, and then they don't respond, they don't talk to us, there's no communication, suddenly, like they backed away, they go back into the lead category, and you'll see the difference in the communication. So then we've nurtured these people, we've cultivated them, we've narrowed them down, and the people that are now interested in real estate come in and they make an appointment. Right? We hit them at the right time, we're in touch with them constantly, and at any given time, 6 people out of 100 have to do real estate. At any given time, 6 people out of the 100 people you know have to do real estate. That's just the way it is, right? And we want to be the one they think of when they're going to do real estate. So when we do that, because we've sent them an email or sent them texts or sent them an invitation or invited them to an event, whatever it is, we are top of mind. They're going to ask for an appointment, and we're going to make them an active buyer or seller and take them to a closing. So that's the overall process, yeah? Why did I use the small slide when there's a big slide? But anyway, never mind. This idea of a lead versus a contact is kind of unique and interesting. Good morning, Kevin. Was a little confusing to me for a while because, well, I just have contacts. And if my contact suddenly wants to do some real estate, isn't that a lead? Well, yeah, kind of, except they're already a contact, right? So there's this kind of double meaning to leads. But a lead is somebody that you've heard of, like a referral. If you were to talk to your friend and your friend said, oh, my sister Sally is thinking of moving to Maui and she's very interested in talking to a realtor. Great, may I call your sister Sally? Yes, please do. Here's her contact information. So I now have this, and you'll let her know that I'll be getting in touch with her. So I'll give you a couple of days to do that. So now you've got this permission for at least a one-way conversation. You have no idea if Sally's going to respond, right? Sally could go, yeah, never mind, I've talked to somebody else, goodbye. Oops, not a lead, not a contact's not turning into a contact. Or Sally says, I'm happy to chat with you and learn more and whatnot. Now you've got a contact, now you've got a communication going, right? Okay. All right, over here, this becomes, in here at some point, this becomes a sales pipeline. So this third area here, your sales pipeline, is this whole area. And what is the difference between just a contact in my database, someone I'm in touch with, someone I call 3-4 times a year, someone I invite to events and I know what's going on, versus someone in my pipeline? My pipeline is, right, the thing that's going to lead to business. Somebody has actually expressed, I am interested in doing real estate. So now I'm going to treat them even differently. Now I want to be sure I respond to what your needs are. Oh, you're interested in doing real estate. What's your motivation, right? When are you thinking of moving or buying or selling or whatever it is you're doing? So finding that out and finding out more why, what's important to you about that, and then what price range or whatever else you need to find out. Now you're going to treat them differently. Well, we want to buy in 2 months. Oh, well, we better get going then, Or we're thinking about it 6 months from now, or a year from now, or we're on vacation here to look and learn about the market, and next year when we're coming, we're ready to buy. Yippee, I like those kind, right? So I like them better if they say we came this year to buy, now we're ready. But you want to get that person because you want to be the one to help them buy it next year. So you want to establish that relationship. You want to prove I'm here for you, right? You're in my sales pipeline. I'm going to take care of you and make sure I stay connected so that you are interested in working with me. That's what my pipeline is. Okay? Make sense? Okay. All right, so what is the actual activities of lead generating? It's prospecting and marketing to bring leads and contacts into your database. They should be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. Hear that again. We want you to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. Marketing alone is no longer gonna drive your business. Sending out postcards the way we did 20 years ago, doesn't work anymore. So, I'm not sure why, it's a different world, people don't look at their mail, you name it. You need to be prospecting based, it's about connecting with people, right? And enhancing that with marketing as you can afford it. And your lead generation efforts never stop. So, the lead generation is the life of an agent's business. It's your lifeline. It is your lifeline. So figuring out, this is kind of, like, we're gonna tell you all the things that you can do, but the truth is you gotta figure out what feels good for you. You gotta figure out what feels right for you, right? So, you guys are all gonna participate in our Monday morning Zoom call on Monday, and you'll get a feel for that. Recently, we had a session on different ways to connect with people. There is an agent, or many agents out there who simply do events. They just figured out a way to have a free movie morning for mom and the kids, and then they deliver pies. You want a free pie for Thanksgiving, sign up here. All sorts of different things that they do in order to engage with people and get to know them. So you go, well, isn't that a client event? No, this is a stranger event. This is a lead generating event. So you let it be known that I'm giving away free pies for Thanksgiving. If you'd like a free pie, go to my this address website and you fill out my Google Sheet. And my Google Sheet says, you agreed to receive my newsletter. And by the way, what is your real estate, right? So you must fill out the whole questionnaire, your address, your contact information. Are you thinking of doing any real estate? In other words, you get all of that for them getting a free pie. And the people who do it in the first 3 weeks or 2 weeks of our program, they get a can of Cool Whip thrown in. And believe it or not, people joke about this Cool Whip. Did you win the Cool Whip or didn't you win the Cool Whip, right? She makes it a big joke. And so these things, so there's different ways. There's different ways to do this. There's a fellow who loves football. And he'd go to the local pub to watch the football game on Monday nights or Sunday afternoons, whatever it was. And finally he said, the heck with this. And he bought himself invested in himself, in his business, bought himself a great big TV, put it in his living room, and invited the guys to his living room. And now he's having this fun party that he loves. He did more business out of that group of guys who then, it got to be a big event. Everybody wanted to come to his house for the football games, and word got out. And he loved football, so that's the group he went after. Right? You're a yoga instructor? Go after your yoga clients and chat with them, and that doesn't mean you have to pounce on them, but that's your sphere of influence, right? Those are the people you already know. Great, you get it. So we need to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. Also, our prospecting needs to be purposeful. So while we walk around and talk to people all the time and meet people, if we're not purposeful about it, we'll walk away and I'll have an agent tell me, yeah, I met some people and I gave them my card. Great, and what did you get? Yeah, hope. A dream, right? So do we have a built-in little thing that we say, well, I'm a realtor and I'm always looking to help people buy or sell a home. Do you know anybody who needs to buy or sell a home? Whatever works for you, right? I have a friend who has been a realtor up in Paia and Makawao for many years, and Fred Haywood, I don't know if any of you know him, but Fred walks around town, and if you say hi to Fred, he says, hey, how's it going, Fred? And he'll say, I'm great, but I'd be better if you bought a house for me today. That's his standard line. And they go, oh, Fred, when are you going to come up with a new line? He says, why should I? It's still the truth. It still works, right? So the point is he got it in there, didn't he? He got it in there. And then somebody now it's on their mind and says, so do you know anybody? And then they go on with their conversation. So he's figured out a way to make kind of a joke, but it works, out of how does he get it out, right? So how are you gonna get it out when you talk to people? This is not the time to hide. This is not the time to hide. People, the reason we are all still able to be in business and succeed is because people wanna work with somebody on this big transaction. They wanna work with somebody they trust. So they prefer a referral from a friend or somebody they know, right? Or if you're gonna meet a stranger, they need to have a sense that you're trustworthy. But you get it, that's why 75% of the business is done with people we know. Oh my God. Now, when you've got 10,000 names on your database, you've got a business that is predictable because it's a numbers game, right? So growing our database, adding contacts into our database is the goal as you get your business started. Questions? Now, tell me something. How do you think agents that perform at a high level successfully use lead generating?
Follow-up.
Follow-up is really important, isn't it? So, I know of agents, okay, I'm gonna go do it, I'm gonna go out and do open houses, and they go out and do open houses, and they have their register and their flyers and all the information, and then a couple of weeks later, I go, great, so what'd you do with the names you collected on your sign-in sheets? Well, I haven't done anything yet. Really? So tell me something, how impressed would you be if you walked into an open house and chatted with somebody, and 3 weeks later, or maybe 4 weeks later, you got an email or a text from them saying, hi, just following up on our visit at the open house 4 weeks ago, wondering if I can help you with anything. Would that work for you? Like you go like, are you joking?
Right.
Right? Hello? So you gotta follow up right away. And that's in your database. So your database is gonna help you do that, right? Because you're gonna have all of that preset, and then all you have to do is enter the name and say, hit, do that. Yeah, awesome. Okay. All right, so we are going to watch a video. Let's see if I can get this. You see a, oh yeah, right down here. And I think I fixed the speakers.
Lead generation is the first thing you should do to make those calls.
I took what I already knew and how I would go shop for a house and just applied it to them. It's a numbers game, you know. If you can track how many people you're calling in a day and how many hours you're doing this, there's a formula.
Make those calls.
I used those things that I did innately to attract my clients. I became a hyper-local expert in the military because I am a military spouse. The two key things that I did to generate the most success for me were social media and open houses because I didn't have the database that everybody else did. So I had to find ways that I could get in front of people fast and also something that would be maybe have the buyer or seller would be ready and willing to buy now versus later. And I'm lead generating specifically in an area that is military friendly, military heavy. It really is in the follow-up. Be present in their lives, build a relationship. Don't just ask for business every single time you see them. Be present in their lives, build a relationship. The least effective marketing activities for me were cold calling. And that's just because my niche market, they're not gonna be already local, they're gonna be moving from other bases. Then I decided, well, if I'm gonna leverage cold calling, let's do it more purposeful and let's do it only in my niche market where I know that there's military there. They're likely to buy or sell in 3 to 4 years. Mindset was a huge part of my success. One of the things I tell myself for an open house is one good lead every time. And so I start that action at least a week beforehand. I do a social media campaign. I follow up with all the likes and comments. And then I do a door knock around the open house. And then I follow up with anybody who is active at the open house. And usually that results in at least one buyer or seller leads, usually more.
So my first year, obviously, the minute I made the change, it's super scary. I've got a network of people still reaching out to me to, help them with what I was doing before, which was post-production. And I knew that my job in the beginning of the year, starting out, was changing people's mind from thinking, if they met somebody who needed a commercial made, they thought of me. I knew my job was to change all the people who knew and trusted me when they heard somebody who needed to buy a house or sell their house, they thought of me. If you're starting out and you don't have that network, be really intentional about where you spend your time. You go get gas, you could meet somebody who needs to buy a house. Just think that way, and you'll attract that to yourself. I think everybody likes to talk about real estate. Your job is for people to know that you are in real estate and that they will bring it up. Open houses are by far just the best thing you should do out of the gate every weekend, each day. Starting out, I did door knocking, I did mailing, I didn't get a great return, but I wouldn't change that. If I was starting out again, I would door knock. It's just talking to people, getting rejected, it's great experience no matter what. I'll also say that the most important thing is that your lead generation strategy is coming from a place of authenticity. You're not going to get every client in the city, but there are people out there that are going to resonate with who you are, and just figure out a way to bring value. The income is secondary. That's how I go about it, and I think that really resonates with my set of people that I take care of.
My lead generation strategies in the beginning were a challenge. I actually honestly believed when I first started that lead generation was cold calling and door knocking. So I kind of stayed away from that. I was fearful, I was anxious. But over the course of the business, the things that were innate to me, networking, open houses, facilitating classes, it allowed me the opportunity to connect, and I start to see that as opportunities for lead gen. And it was far more effective for me because it was natural. Let me just go back. When I became a new agent, from the time that I was in Ignite and graduated from Ignite in October, November, December, I closed with 8 transactions in just 3 months. And during that period of time, I noticed a developmental gap. And I say this to say, I was spurred to partner and collaborate with some other agents and create master classes, as well as Launch and Learns monthly to share, mindset, motivational speaking. And through this, I was able to build a community, or I was able to build a group and a network broader than myself that basically helped others in home buying, and also with other agents to help build their skill sets. It has put me and set me apart from other agents. Lead gen pitfalls that I've seen agents do are just being cookie cutter. Looking at a successful agent or looking at someone else and doing exactly what they do doesn't necessarily work for everyone. Scripts gave me more confidence to be able to know what to say when I was talking to certain clients. Also, there's different approaches to different questions that may be asked. So instead of looking at scripts as, I have to memorize this verbatim, it was a resource to gain knowledge and definitely helped me to build confidence, even though I was not planning on using it verbatim. I've always said my purpose is to empower and to elevate others to a level of excellence. And when I meet with my clients, I want to make sure that they have enough information and they feel empowered to make the decision. How can I do that? How can I help you to make you feel that once we've made this connection, you are elevated?
With my time blocking, for the first 2 hours of every day, I would do lead generation. And sometimes it would be 4 hours if I wasn't getting the productivity that week that I wanted. And then I followed up with all of my clients and learned just lots of very successful habits through Ignite. I think that a lot of new agents want to try all different types of lead generation. You're not really honing any talent in 1 or 2 different lead generation. There's all kinds of different models, but they are not made for everybody. The best lead generation model for me was my sphere. I called my sphere every day. The number 2 way that I got business and did lead generation was open house. I found for me the best way to connect was to be in front of them. People I already knew that I had built a relationship with, or I had met at an open house and had time to actually connect with them. The script that the Ignite program provided for me really worked because they they helped me get out of my comfort zone when I was having to call everybody on Facebook and let them know that I had transitioned jobs, what I was doing, and it gave me the dialogue to ask questions. On our team, we have picked 6 different nonprofits locally that we like. And we do an event with all of those nonprofits every year. And we meet lots of new people that way. We invite all of our former clients, we invite our vendors, and then we invite the neighborhood. We go door knocking for the event around the park doing that. So then we also have client appreciation. We try to do that quarterly. We'll do a client appreciation event where we invite everybody out to a restaurant and then we provide appetizers. And we just have fun. It's not necessarily a salesy event, it's just about having fun. By being out in the community, they see that we are knowledgeable about what we're doing, but we're also giving back. We care about where we live.
My first year as a realtor, I tried just about everything in terms of prospecting and lead generation. What I found for me was that I present best when I'm face-to-face with somebody. So I really focused on open houses and then networking and getting out for coffees, making myself visible in the community, and then always making sure that I was able to speak to what was happening in the market at any time. So keeping up to date with local news and projects in and around town, I found to be very helpful when talking with people. To set myself apart from the many other agents out there, I've been utilizing video. And I find that putting the videos out on Facebook and a YouTube channel, and then even emailing them to clients, really allows people to feel like they get to know you. And I've had experiences where I've talked to people on the phone, and they were, especially out-of-town investor clients, and they were not necessarily ready to go with me until I sent them a video saying hello, outlining how I could help them. It was good to have the phone call with them, etc. And the feedback I've gotten on the videos has been very, very strong. The biggest pitfalls I saw other agents having, and even fell into myself with lead generation, was not having consistent follow-up. So if I had an open house and I got some names and numbers and contacts and told them I'd be in touch with them, sometimes I would get overwhelmed and I wouldn't touch base with them in a timely manner, or to follow up on calls with somebody that had shown some interest. Making sure that you stay on top of things and follow up with your contacts is very important. Scripts are great for understanding what objections you might encounter and how to overcome those objections. What I discovered was I would learn what the foundation of the script was. What was it trying to get me to say? And then I would be able to, just by knowing that and having read it over and over and over, when I would have an objection come up, I was able to utilize those scripts, the content of the scripts, in my own words.
Okay. There we go. So, any ahas from that video? Any thoughts?
Everybody likes open houses.
Everybody likes what?
Open houses?
Yeah, why do you think that is?
Well, I think as they said, it's, you get in front of people more often. Face to face is always better than over the phone.
Yeah, and there are people who are at least somewhat interested, right? So it makes sense as opposed to the supermarket where you can meet lots of people. I know an agent who works the supermarket like you would not believe. Like, you don't want to run into her in the supermarket because she's going to corner you and have a conversation, but she's a dear. And she does it. She talks to everybody at the supermarket. Go figure. She doesn't like open houses, so she does it that way. So, did you get that? Everybody does something different, right? Everybody had this little different approach. And I mean, the video guy, that was brilliant. That was just brilliant. A little video, welcoming video to send out to people. Now, in order to send a video, I think you have to invest in Boom Boom, right? You have to have an email way, or at least a YouTube account, and it's just an attachment in your email. Watch my email below, right? It doesn't have to be all pretty and whatnot. So, can you figure this out, right? Can you figure out, so that's the idea. That's the challenge for you, and it's not gonna come to you instantly, and if it does, great, but over time, you're gonna go, like this, right? But you've gotta find something that works for you, something that you'll keep doing, that you will be consistent in relentless.
That's my biggest takeaway is the fact that nobody's super rigid. They're giving you permission to internalize, make what your own is. Your scripts do not have to be robotic. Take the content, turn it into a conversation. right?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, which, by the way, is a big switch from the way we taught this just 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So, this whole new approach is really much more real, yeah.
The thing I wrote down is, one of the things I wrote down was be authentic.
Yeah.
You know, people don't like superficial people. There's enough fluff in the world, but they really connect people that are speaking from their heart and are real. And I think that's so important, and face to face is the best way, obviously, to do that.
Yeah, totally true. I love one of the things that Larry Kendall, has anybody here ever heard of Larry Kendall? He is the author of the Ninja Real Estate
Yeah,
Selling Program,
really good.
and an amazing, amazing guy, wonderful teacher. But one of the things he talks about is we have this natural tendency that when somebody is selling us to move away,
Yeah.
right? And we can tell when somebody is moving away from us. So what he says is become aware of your words, and when you see somebody moving away, you can later on go like, what was I saying? How did that happen? That I don't want that to happen again, right? You're not gonna make friends and influence people when they're moving away from you. So isn't that wonderful? Because none of us want to be salespeople, and we're not telling you to. We're asking you to find the right words and the right place to be authentic and to genuinely help people, come from helping people. And when you do that, it does lead to making money. Yeah, yes ma'am.
I was just gonna say, I love it when I don't give out, I don't freely give out my cards because I pay for them, right? And I just don't slather them out to 100 people, but I talk to people all the time. And throughout the conversation, sometimes they'll give me their card. And that's a really cool thing to get, because then you have all of their information.
Yeah, that's what you
And
want.
you don't have to wait for them to call you. But, and if they don't give me their card, then they'll ask me before, hey, do you have I didn't have one the other day, because they're not in yet, but, the guy gave me his card and said, email me. So,
That's even better.
so sometimes,
So actually,
it's just a different way of thinking.
Actually, if you don't have that card and say, hey, I don't have a card yet, but have you got a card? What a great line. Or I forgot to fill my pockets with my cards today. I'm so sorry, I don't have one. Can you give me your email address? I'm sorry, but that is a great
Yeah.
little technique, right? It's like one of my favorite silly stories is Carol Ball, County Ball's mom, who started a real estate business here, very successful over many, many years. She's still in business. Would intentionally wear her badge, her name badge, upside down. That's correct. And she'd go to the grocery store so that people would say, hey, you know, your badge is upside down. She'd go, what? Oh my God, this real estate business has got me going blind, I guess, you know, or some cute line that allowed her to now have a conversation with people. It's just an icebreaker, right? So what's your icebreaker? How can you, and I don't care if you're a surfer and you're sitting out in your surfboard on the waves waiting for the wave, right?
That's my
What are
board
you
meeting.
saying? That's his plan, that's where he wants to go.
I'm gonna find the
Prospect,
restaurants
that's right.
the ones with money.
Yes, and you can't tell them apart, so you're
Right,
just gonna
so
have to
true.
work them all, right? You're just gonna have to work them all, that's right, yeah.
Instead of battle
Okay,
birds, you do
so,
better than
yeah,
spoilers.
So the idea here is, so we've got these two elements, we've got marketing and prospecting, and notice this is the smaller portion of the triangle up here and the larger portion down here, because marketing is very money intensive. So one of the things we say in Keller Williams is do not lead with marketing, lead with revenue. We don't want you spending your money that you don't have yet, right? Now, if you came into this business with a chunk of money so that you can afford to spend some money, so that you can plaster a condo complex with your postcards and do whatever, or buy yourself into a Mojo dialer and get lists and do whatever you want to do, right? Whatever works for you, whatever you design, great, fine, then that's part of your plan. But most of us don't come into the business with a $5,000 or $10,000 marketing budget. So lead generating is time intensive, but doesn't cost you anything. marketing is very money intensive, it's passive, so you're not building a relationship. You still have to do the lead generating after the marketing or with the marketing in order to make it work, right? And you do get long-term results. This is a long-term thing. So if you're gonna take on marketing to a condo complex or a neighborhood, the first thing I say to somebody is, do you have money to do this for at least a year or two? Because that's what it's gonna take in order to farm like that. Now, you can't go door knocking at a condo. You can go door knocking at a neighborhood. So if you combine your marketing efforts with a door knocking campaign, now that's called prospecting with marketing enhanced, right? That's gonna have much stronger impact. You can even not have to mail it, you just do door hangers. We've got great door hanger designs right in Command. You can make it up for yourself and leave it at the door hanger if you get, because people get about 15% of the people home, something like that. It's not like every door somebody's home, right? So anyway, so the idea is this is very money intensive, so we want you to build this base, this good solid base of prospecting, and then when you can afford to add marketing, you do that. So always plan to invest back into your business, right? Okay, so that takes us to database. And
9:45 right now.
pardon me?
9:45, so we
Oh,
say-
no, that's terrible. Can't do that. Okay, so we're gonna skip right ahead, because what we have to do here is talk about Command. So we're gonna talk about leads that you have valid contact information for and contacts that you have valid contact information for. And here's what your database is gonna recommend. Your database is gonna recommend that your leads get 19 contacts a year. 4 touches quarterly by phone, 12 touches a monthly email, newsletter, market report, a video, whatever you might think, but these are, so our 19 touch campaign is for leads. These are people that aren't reciprocity yet, right? There's 2 promotional touches and then maybe 1 event. If you're in contact with somebody, we recommend a 36 touch campaign. Literally, the people who do the 36 touch have the greatest results out of their database. And since this ends up being a numbers game, that becomes important, right? So when you've got your database up to 10,000 names and you go, Marion, how could I possibly know 10,000 people? Well, you've met them at your events, you've given them a pie, you've sold their neighbors' houses, you've done all sorts of things to gather these names, and you're staying in touch with them. And if they were to call you up, or when you call them, or somebody on your team calls them, somebody is developing a relationship with them, and your database is gonna keep notes. They just had a baby. The baby's name is River. And whatever, I have a friend just named her baby River, that's what made me think of that. So, and what's the baby's birthday? And I might send myself a reminder, a task, like send her a teddy bear in a month or in 6 months or something like that, and a task will come up and remind me, send Nicole a teddy bear. That's what I want to be doing. And can I do that with 10,000 names? Not me alone. I'd need a team to manage 10,000 names. But if you can get 1,000 to 1,500, yeah. And will you have somebody to call every day if you had 1,000 or 1,500 names? Yes, divide 1,000, 1,500 by, 250 days that you're actually going to make calls, right? And you've got calls to make. So that's, when they say I call my database every day, that's what they mean. They divvy it up. A, B, C, whatever. All right, so we have Command, and you've got your computers with you. You're welcome to log into Command, and we're going to do a little tour of Command here. Okay. Everybody got yeah? It always helps to bring your computers, right? So, anyway, so who's logged into Command before? Okay, so you have. And what's your name?
Oh, I'm Star.
Star?
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Star.
Hi.
I've got a cheat sheet here, so I need you down. If you can log into Command right now, go right ahead. And I'm going to show you just some basic overview things, and the most important thing is how to add a contact. So, as you'll notice here is we've got these icons down the left, and if you hover over them, it'll tell you what they mean. And after a while, you get to know what they mean. But if you need help, you just click on the red KW, and ta-da! This little window opens and actually tells you what each icon means, right? So that's kind of a handy little trick. And then you could click it again and it goes away. So the first icon after the home icon is contacts. So we're gonna go to contacts. Now, who has entered themselves as a contact? Okay, that's not a lot. So that's great. Congratulations to the two of you, because you want to be the first one to receive your notifications, emails, whatever it is you're gonna do. So we're gonna set you up for a Smart Plan campaign, okay? So the first step is for you to add yourself. Now, how do you add? Over here, so this is my database, right? Over here on the right, top right, if I could only see, there's a green button that says add a contact. Look at that. So we go, hit that, and a little screen comes up, and you're now going to fill in as much as possible. I'd appreciate it if you'd fill in your address so that the system, you'll see the system will pick up what your address is and what your first neighborhood